Heber Cannon, thanks so much for joining us. I have to say congratulations on the early release of your film, The Fittest. Give us a little insight into how it actually ended up happening that we're able to watch the movie a lot earlier than people expected.
Man, we when we started seeing everything closing down and everyone getting kind of locked into their houses and countries literally like shutting down, we thought, hey, our movie doesn't come out for 3 weeks. If there's anything we can do to bump it forward, let's find out. And so we reached out to our distribution company who handles all of this. Mm-hmm. And they said, to do something like that, we'd have to move some mountains. And really they're interested in really just the business side of it. And they said, we really need to get some pre-orders done before we can just release this movie to the masses to really help us in the long run and the longevity of the film. And we said, okay, well, what do you need? How many do you need? And they said, we'll get back to you. And they did some math and they came back and they gave us a number higher than any of our other movies had done, significantly, which was 15,000. And we said, okay, well, we'll put that out to our community. And we blew past it within 48 hours. And we went back to them. We said, we got a number. Now you guys got to do your part. And they agreed and they moved mountains. So the movie is still being released in some countries because the subtitles and some of the formatting is being done for like Singapore or Hong Kong or Brazil. But there's 70 plus countries that now have access to the movie 3 weeks early, thanks to Gravitas Ventures and iTunes for collabing together to make it happen.
Were they surprised that you came back with like, yep, we got 15K, we got it?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of joke with them that they did not expect the number that we came back with. Like because I said, what if we did, I think I said, what if we got 12? Would you release it for 12? And they came back with a higher number. And I was like, well, whatever, let's just find out. If it happens, it happens. And the community rallied behind it. Like you put a goal on the whiteboard, right? In any CrossFit gym, and everyone's like, oh, I got to do that workout now. So everyone got rallied behind it. And I think that Gravitas was definitely surprised and pleased with the number. And I think the people that were more shocked, or my connections at iTunes, were really blown away. They said our jaws are dropped and we're just amazed by what's happening, and especially internationally. Like our international audience is incredible.
So if people want to, well, first off, I should ask, how many pre-orders, I don't know if you can tell this, officially did you end up getting? You said you blew past 15K. I
can say it's higher than 15K by a lot, but I can't tell the official number just because I don't know that it's cool to say the official number. But I will say this: it is by far the most successful pre-order documentary that Gravitas Ventures has ever released by a significant margin.
So it's higher than 15K. I'm just going to go ahead and speculate. Higher than 15K, lower than 500 million, probably.
Yeah, so, one of those two.
Somewhere in there. Somewhere in that range. Cool.
I'm still living in my parents' basement, if that helps.
Everyone's locked in now. Exactly. If your career takes off right now, it's not the time to be in the market for a mansion. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, exactly.
Give us a little insight for people who have followed your documentaries when you were working at CrossFit HQ and then your career and the Buttery Bros since then. They might be more familiar with kind of the format and the storytelling behind these documentaries about the CrossFit Games. Give us a little bit of insight for those who might not be familiar, who might not have seen some of your previous CrossFit Games documentaries. What should they expect if they watch The Fittest?
Well, what you should expect is we tried to make it for all audiences. So if you're not smart, but if you're educated in the CrossFit realm, you're going to get a really unique experience and perspective from those of us that used to work at CrossFit HQ, where they had this massive shift and change as a company, and as athletes who had to deal with a restructuring of how the games is ran to a major degree. But we also tried to make it friendly enough that my parents, who have no clue what CrossFit really is, like they kind of know that we go to the gym and lift weights, they're able to appreciate it as a perspective of like character studies with these top elite athletes like Matt Fraser, T. Claire Toomey, Noah Olson. And then you get this kind of interesting battle between story of conflict between the athletes and the structure of the sport, as well as then the internal competition between like two of the top male athletes, Matt Fraser and Noah Olson, who end up going really head to head at the end of the weekend for an incredible sports story as well. So you're getting the the heart pumping adrenaline rush that you would get from any sports documentary, along with a character study into some really interesting people.
That's great. Approaching this has got to be a little different than approaching the narrative from the previous year's documentaries, just because of the restructuring. How early on did you know you wanted that to be integral to the story you were telling?
Oh, really early. Like literally one of the first things when we were pitching the documentary to various people, and if you see the movie Fittest in Dubai, they kind of took it and did a little bit. I actually haven't seen the movie, but I know how the intro works. Back in November, when we were let go from CrossFit, we were being asked like, okay, well, what story do you want to tell in 2020? Like, what if we did an individual athlete, like another Froning, and just focus on one person? And I was like, listen, if we did a movie on Tia Claire Toomey, if she wins, it's a phenomenal story because she's won 3 consecutive years, but it's not the story everybody's talking about right now. What everyone's talking about right now is what the crap is CrossFit HQ doing and what's happening with our sport. And so to me, that was always what I wanted the story to be, which is, yeah, we want it to be like our previous movies, but we definitely want to tell this new angle of like, hey, there's major shifts in the sport. This is important for the history of the sport. What's going on and how is it affecting every different avenue of the ecosystem of CrossFit?
And where's the best place to find the Fittest? If I'm at home, I'm social distancing, I'm trying to find some good content to watch, where do I get it?
Exclusively available on Apple TV or iTunes until April 14th. And on April 14th, it'll go on to other platforms like Google Play or Amazon, where you can buy or rent.
Well, last thing I want to ask you, what is next? What is next for you for the remainder of, I guess, the pre-CrossFit Games season? Not that we really know exactly if that's going to happen on time. No official word as of this recording, I don't think. But I don't know. Things are happening quickly. It could happen in the last 2 minutes for all I know. It could have an email.
Yeah, exactly.
Inbox. Yeah. But what's next for you in the foreseeable future now that the movie's out?
Well, now the movie's out, we shifted gears really heavily about 2 weeks ago. When we saw all this beginning to happen, we were going to be at the West Coast Classic. We were going to premiere a movie in Santa Cruz, London, Vegas. We were going to go to take some meetings in LA. So we were going to do like a Southern California trip. I was going to Disneyland with my family. And then we were going to potentially Bali and then Watt on the Waves and then Portugal and then Rogue Invitational. And literally all of those things have just exploded. So luckily for us, we shifted gears really quick and focused on the movie. And now that we're kind of riding that wave of excitement, we're figuring out what does our content look like now. And then being very flexible as we don't know what the future holds. We don't know if there's going to be a 2020 Games, and our plans are to continue making a documentary and to continue making a really fun YouTube Buttery Bros show. And that's what that looks like is yet to be determined.
Hey, we're all trying to figure it out. We're all getting used to the work from home life. But the good news is you're spending a lot of time with your family, which I'm sure they're really happy about. Your son there, super thrilled, showing you some cool lizard impressions. So that's definitely a plus side here. Heber Cannon, thanks so much for joining us today. Really excited that the film is out. Check it out exclusively on Apple TV and iTunes until April 14th when it goes multi-platform. The Fittest. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And just a heads up, since this recording, it's been announced that the release date on multiple platforms for The Fittest has actually been moved up. So now you can also find it on Amazon, Vudu, Redbox, and a lot of other platforms, at least in the United States.